To answer all your San Francisco 49er questions. Oh, and we have some. The voice of the San Francisco 49ers, the incomparable, the legendary, the amazing, and I'm going to say the Hall of Famer. I don't know. I imagine Greg Papa's got to be in a Hall of Fame somewhere, and if not, that is a damn...
He's in mine.
Yeah, and it's a damn travesty if he's not. He's the best in the business. Greg Papa joining us. Good morning, Greg.
And I'm live here in Studio B. How do I sound? Like
is Greg right next to me?
Yes. Here.
Wow.
Isn't that incredible? Thank you.
I love now, I don't want to get too behind the scenes, but Greg, you've been in business a lot longer than I have. You remember ISDN. This is like internet voice stuff, right? But same thing, basically?
I thought we were on an ISDN. No, I go back. Are you kidding me? Come on. I go back when we had phone lines plugged in.
Yeah.
I did a game in Boston Garden during the first Gulf War on a telephone line.
You're kidding me.
I did the entire game on the telephone.
Oh, my God.
Talk about cauliflower a year after I was ringing. Anyway, Andrew from our engineer at KNBR came out yesterday. And it's the same system that I do my radio show on. So we've been talking, Dave, all the years. Can we get a line going up?
Yeah.
We've never got it to work, but Andrew came out and made it work with your engineers. So
thank you.
Yes, it is a Comrex brick Lynx 2.
Okay.
Whatever the hell that means. I don't know. But it sounds like I'm right here, right?
It does.
Stay away from me, 6 feet apart. Put a mask on, would you?
Greg, what people say what happened. I want to go back to a conversation you and I had, or a question I had for you last week, which was, we know there's no quarterback controversy, but I gave you the top first three starts with Nick Mullins and yardage, and you broke that down. Who was number 4? Who was number 5?
Billy Volek.
Right.
Kirk Cousins was 5.
You did not. You did in no way disrespect Nick Mullins, but you kind of put you made us see a little bit of context there. Now I want to go the other way. A lot of people were super hyped on Nick Mullins and maybe unfairly. Now, do you think after last week's game that's turned on its ear and now you're seeing a lot of people unfairly down on Nick Mullins, or accurate? How do you read that?
Yes, I would say that's accurate. People overreact. That's why I stay off social media.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the conversation we had last week is Nick's contract status, being an undrafted player in his 4th year. And he's a restricted free agent who you can, get relatively inexpensively for, depending on what tender you put him at, round 1, round 2, $3 million on one, 5 on the other. So you could have a $5 million quarterback versus Jimmy, who's a $25 million a year quarterback.
Right.
So we got there's economic hardships throughout the world going on right now, our country and in the league. The salary cap's going down to 175 next year possibly, as they thought it was going to be 220. So that's worthy of a conversation. But, I'm not going to say Jimmy's 5 times the player that Nick is, but Jimmy is obviously a better player.
Sure.
I mean, there's no question about it. Look at the one-loss record. Look at the skill set. But I will say, Nick started rough the very first throw of the game.
Yes.
But when you watch it back, Ben Garland's snap from center was low. And it may have just thrown him off a little bit. I'm not blaming the whole night on Ben Garland. But when you got a ferocious front like the Philadelphia Eagles, who run the same kind of defensive line, tenacity, ferocity the 49ers do with their wide 9, and they got great players. Brandon Graham is just such a good player.
Yep.
Fletcher Cox gets all the publicity there, but Brandon Graham came up with the big strip sack on Brady in Super Bowl 52, probably the biggest play in the history of that franchise. Philly Special gets all the credit, but they may not win if Graham doesn't make that play. He's that kind of player, and he wreaks havoc in everything you do. The run game, 55 was all over the field. But anyway, Nick just, having to look away may cause that first throw to be wide to Bourne. Kendrick had to dive at it to tip it away so they wouldn't pick it. The second one was a flat-out terrible miss.
Yeah.
What I call a lead wheel, and it's why Kyle's so brilliant. Or, Kyle Juszczyk is lead blocking all game. He's the lead blocker like Tom Rathman was, and a back comes up right behind him, and they do it just so differently. And this time, he does not lead block. He just kind of brushes the guy, runs right by him, and runs a wheel route. And out and up the sideline. He's naked down the left sideline. Hit him. I don't think he would have scored, but it would have been a big chunk, 40 or 50 yards, and he shot it flat, just a flat throw. And then later in the game, now the first 2 throws of the game, it's Sunday Night Football. Al Michaels is up in the booth doing the game. Maybe you're overamped. But when you have time to settle in now later in the game, he had a 2nd and 10 throw to Kendrick Bourne and out to his left, and he just sailed it just way too high. I mean, that's a layup in the NFL. You can't miss that.
Yeah.
And then right after that was a strip sack. So, people are too hard on Nick, but I think it tells you the skill set here. I think Kyle was on KNBR this morning, Kyle Shanahan, saying it's looking like Jimmy. So hopefully Jimmy Garoppolo can play, but I think it's time to get a look at C.J. Beathard longer. And if something happened where Jimmy had to leave the game, probably the situation wouldn't be great. You'd be behind, or he got hurt, or something went awry. You may have to play from behind, may have to make up a lot of points in a short period of time, but I think C.J. Beathard's movement skill, athleticism is better than Nick's, and he has a better throwing arm. So I'm not down on Nick. He will get another chance to quarterback this team. Maybe not this year, but he will. They're going to keep him on the roster because they like him. But yes, anybody who engaged in that kind of conversation, it's silly. But people overreact to a lot of things, and Nick did play well. He did. He threw for 343 in New York against the Giants, and he was able to win that game. So people are basing it on what they see, but football people know Jimmy Garoppolo is a far better player. You're not giving Nick Mullins a $137.5 million contract. No one's doing that.
Greg Papa joining us this morning. Greg, I've really enjoyed watching the early season development of Brandon Ayuk, and now with Deebo Samuel back in the lineup. Just what is the ceiling for that kind of 1-2 receiver punch for the Niners?
No, he's going to jump right through the ceiling. You kidding me? Ayuk is on fire. He's going to jump through the roof. I mean, he's obviously the athleticism is there, and I did not know he could do that. I know, he's a great athlete, and the 81-inch arms, and he's a tough guy in junior college. He went to junior college up at Sierra. The 49ers had training camp in Rockland for years right there. He played defensive back. He was a corner. And then, Herman Edwards, when he went to Arizona State, moved him. So he's tough. And his body, not just the long arms. And when you have 81-inch arms and you're 6'1", it's like that's how they measure basketball players. That's like a 6'9" guy would have those kind of arms. So you're talking about a Harold Carmichael kind of reach. But then his lower body, he's just so thick. His legs, his butt. He's kind of Larry Fitzgerald. Larry has that bubble butt. Mm-hmm. But, this guy is just muscles. You just can't. So his lower body, and you see the yak yards, the yards after catch yards in college, 9.9. He led the country last year. But beyond all that, what we haven't seen yet that I've seen on the practice field is route running ability.
Yep.
And I didn't see that in college. I love Jerry Jeudy coming out of college. I thought Jerry Judy's the best route runner. He looks like the modern day version of Paul Warfield. Who is this guy? I didn't see him run routes like that. But in training camp, there were several complicated double and triple move routes that he ran where he just set up the corner with a body lean if he's going to run a post corner route where you bend to the post a little bit, then break it back off to the corner. He really sold the post where the corner would open up, and then he'd come back, and it's like, wow, that is way further advanced as a route runner than Deebo Samuel was last year, and I may even say than Deebo Samuel is right now. Deebo's not a great route runner. He's kind of a Tim Brown, sloppy, broken field route runner. This guy's more like a Jerry Rice route runner. So he's the full package. We haven't seen it yet. I mean, they haven't thrown the ball a lot yet. His 2 touchdowns, one came out of end around in New York, and then this incredible play that he had on Sunday night. But you should be impressed by him, and I think you're going to see more. Ayuk, and it's George Kittle, who's one of the great yak tight ends ever, yards after catch. Yak, and I think it just fits to Kyle Shanahan and what he wants to get done here. Is it's a high percentage short passing game. They throw the ball deep, and he wants to look deep, and they the first look is deep to short, but the way it's kind of built in a large extent is a high percentage, throw it short, and then do it with great openings to be able to run after the catch, and then good luck This guy, what he did the other night, and before he, went Edwin Moses, Skeets Nehemiah, and jumped right over Marcus Epps, he did break a couple of tackles where he ran right through guys. So he can run through you, he can run around you, or hell, if he has to, he'll just jump right over you.
Greg Papa, voice of the San Francisco 49ers, with us. And, just hearing you talk about that too, Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch just have to be licking their chops. There's defensive injuries. Nothing could be done about that. But you have players, Raheem Mostert, whenever he comes back, Jimmy Garoppolo, whenever he comes back. Now you have Ayuk, you have Deebo Samuel, you have George Kittle, 15 catches for $183. I just envision this deal where you've got Ayuk and Samuel and Kittle and McKinnon. You have, it's not just passing, it's also these end arounds and crazy stuff that Kyle runs. And it seems like, I don't know, I could be wrong, Greg, but it seems like once they actually get a little healthy, and hopefully they do on offense, I don't know how the hell you stop that offense.
And they haven't had them together for a single snap.
Right.
Mostert, Deebo, because Deebo just came back and Mostert's out. I'm with you. So for that reason, look at the injuries, and we're still numb over Nick Bosa.
Yep.
I mean, losing Nick Bosa is just, it's not going to go away, and hopefully we kind of forget about it at times, but I never do. Whenever the opponent's getting into a second and third and long, where's Bosa? He's not here. You don't have Bosa. Is Dee Ford going to play a snap this year? You don't have Solomon Thomas. Then you lose Ziggy Ansah in the game on Sunday night. He immediately went into their what I call the gold rush, which is the pass rushing package. The coaches call it the turbo package. He was immediately in that group.
Yeah.
So now you're minus, your best turbochargers. So for that reason, Dave, I think this team has got to score. And I'm talking about score with the elite teams in the NFL. Kansas City. Last year, the 49ers were second in the NFL in points per game. They scored damn near 30 a game. They were 29.9. And what's impressive about that, Jimmy threw 27 touchdown passes, but it's predominantly a run-based offense. To be able to score that much and run the ball as much as they do, and Baltimore was number one, and they're a run-based offense because their quarterback's a running back who does throw it pretty well as well. And then Mostert just, takes simple, outside zone runs and makes some house calls. So I think, and they're not completely healthy yet, we'll see if Mostert, I guess there's a chance he can play in this game. I didn't think there was much of one, but Kyle was just on KNBR and said maybe. When you get him back and Tevin Coleman off IR, then let's roll. And I'm talking about scoring, 500 points this year, which is 31.25 a game. Scoring is up in this league, way up. This is an elite offense. They were second in the NFL. So, the two games that they've lost, both at Levi's, were almost the exact same score. Very different games, but 24-20 to Arizona, 25-20 to Philadelphia. 20's not good enough.
No.
They averaged almost 30 a game, and 30 may not be good enough. You got to think, I want 4 touchdown San Francisco's a week and maybe a couple of Robbie Gould field goals, or maybe 5 touchdown San Francisco's a week. I think this team and Kyle's mindset has got to be a little bit different here. Excuse me, I think Kyle's calling and saying, "What the hell are you talking about? We're a defense in a running game. Take it easy. We can't score that much." But I think he did say last year that he called plays differently because his defense was so good.
Yeah.
In particular, with the Ram game there was just Jared Goff can't complete a ball. He threw for like 76 yards or something. Like, wow. So then you can be more conservative offensively because you don't want to turn it over. Now I think his mindset has got to be, damn, we don't have the turbo gold rush package. Our defense may not be the same, so it's incumbent on us, and when we get all of our healthy guys, to score. And I'm talking about 30 plus into the mid-30s a game now.
You always answer the questions we want you to answer, so I want to throw a bone out to you. Have you I'm sure you've kept an eye on. I know a certain friend of mine who's a big Buffalo Bills fan. I don't know if you're familiar with that area at all. Or,
no, I drove through there once or twice. I got some close relatives that still live there, like my mom and my brother and my sister and everybody in my family but me.
Right.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying. I just want to.
Believe me, December 7th is a date that lives in infamy in my household.
Oh, wait, December 7th.
Buffalo. The Buffalo Bills are coming to Levi.
Yes, and I'm thinking here.
December the 7th.
I can't help it. I see the Bills and what they're doing. And listen, as a Sacramento Kings fan, I root for any team that has been historically downtrodden or whatever you want to call it. And there's no comparison between
They went to 4 straight Super Bowls, Dave. I don't know what you're talking about.
I was just correcting it. There's no comparison. They went to 4 straight. But look at your Bills. How great is that? What a great story with Fireball's Josh Allen.
They're good. Josh Allen's really good. And I liked him coming out of Wyoming. He's just got a rocket arm. And I knew he had movement skill, but I really didn't know he would be able to run like this. I mean, he almost runs too much, but he's so big and strong, he can run. But you don't want to get him hurt. But, again, the league has changed a little bit with watching Tom Brady last night. Khalil Mack in that front really caused them problems.
Yep.
And he could not get away from it, maybe to the extent where his mind was so lost he couldn't count to 4 at the end. But you got to be able to escape pressure. I think Josh Allen escapes it too fast, but a lot of times with young quarterbacks, if the first read is not open, they just take off and run. Kyler Murray's doing that over and over again. I think he runs way too much. Kyler Murray's a better thrower. But at some point in their career, they'll see it better and longer and see all of it, sideline to sideline, the whole field, and they won't do that. But to have the ability to be able to run away from the pressure is amazing. But the strength of their team is their defense. Tre'Davious White is an elite player. Their defensive line, elite. Their linebackers, Matt Milano in coverage is an elite modern-day coverage linebacker. He's strong enough and big enough to hold up in the run game, but he really does man-match backs or tight ends exceedingly well. So, yeah, I mean, this Cam Newton positive test, though, I think has changed my thought on the AFC. Kansas City is clearly the team you got to deal with. But Belichick was causing them a lot of trouble on Monday night. Yes. It's amazing. They flew that day. They landed an hour before the game. Let's go. Let's get some Gates barbecue and go deal with Mahomes.
Right.
And they had them bothered. I mean, it was wow. If they have Cam in that game, they may win the game. But how long will Cam be in incubation? Maybe not that long. I don't know. But the whole league is, Jets tested positive, one of their guys this morning. So, but to answer your question, yes, I think the Buffalo Bills are in a top echelon in the AFC. I think they could win the AFC East, and I think they could win the whole conference and go to the Super Bowl this year. They're that strong, but there are a lot of good teams in the AFC. Kansas City is on a different level when they start scoring, but Buffalo does match up well with them. So I do have some close contacts in that area, Dave. Keep abreast of it. Yeah.
With very calm, very rational fans, by the way, very normal looking, sounding. They don't bust through tables, none of that stuff.
No,
normal stuff. It's like he's right next to me, but we're socially distanced. It is the one, the only Greg Papa, voice of your San Francisco 49ers. Have a great call this weekend, sir, and we will we'll talk to you in a week.
This is great, the fact that we're like in a studio.
I love it. I love it.
I could appear on your show more often. You got a senator coming on in a couple of minutes?
We have
every questions I could
Yeah, listen, every Friday since about April, we've had a state senator and also a doctor, Richard Pan, come on to we have people who have coronavirus questions, and they get their info off of Facebook, so we bring somebody on to answer questions.
That's fabulous.
You're Mr. Papa. You are welcome on this program.
Well, I just may leave my line up and listen if you don't mind. I take notes.
Absolutely.
I had to do the whole football game on Sunday with a mask on the entire game.
Oh, really?
Like Michael's, and at first it was like, this is weird, but then I realized, I don't go anywhere without a mask on.
Sure.
So why would I go in the booth with Tim Ryan and producers and engineers and not have a mask on? I had to adjust to it. What was the hardest part about it was my binoculars were fogging up. So weird.
Yeah.
But I got special glass that'll applicant to spray on the glasses that'll prevent that. So I'm good now. So yes,
you're a pro.
I will be listening to the senator.
Okay. Well, we'll leave that line open. We'll just leave it open always. Anytime you just want to check in, like Tuesday at 7, just come on and say, hey, what do you have?
Pop in. What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. It's beautiful. That is the beautiful Greg Papa. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys. Have a good week.
Talk to you in a week.